For the sixth time, the dog was brought back to the shelter. Then a startling discovery was discovered by the personnel. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Benji was a gorgeous puppy who was brimming with vitality at just 4 years old. The only problem was that, despite having been adopted 7 times, he was promptly returned to the shelter with little to no explanation each time he found a new home. Why wasn't Benji feeling well? Why was this sad little puppy being turned down by so many families? One staff member found something unexpected that clarified everything when she brought him home for the evening. Benji was a little dog, but he was amiable and content. He was without a doubt one of the most loving dogs ever, and he enjoyed playing and receiving attention from everyone. People flocked to adopt him because of this. Nevertheless, each time a family brought him home, they would give him back after 3 or 4 weeks. When the family brought Benji home, the shelter staff was baffled as to what went wrong, and their explanations did nothing to help. One family said he just didn't fit in, while another claimed they had just had second thoughts. One family claimed he was too animated for them, and another claimed he had little interest in going on walks or doing anything else. Staff found it hard to imagine that Benji wasn't friendly enough, according to one of the families. It was just not adding up. The reason Benji was brought back to the shelter again and over again was not shared. Despite his seeming perfection, there was something about him that families just couldn't seem to get along with. One young student who worked at the shelter offered to take him home so that others could see him in a non-shelter environment in an effort to investigate the matter. Besides, she and Benji had always gotten along, and she loved to play and pamper over him while she worked. She thought he was hilarious and cute, and she adored his high energy and upbeat nature. It was a wise choice. Benji became very enthusiastic, so Clara put him in a carrier and brought him to her car. Clara was apprehensive about how things would go, but all she could do was grin at his enthusiasm. Were the relatives of Benji correct? Was there a problem with him? Did he really change that much after leaving the shelter? She prayed that was not the situation. When Clara arrived home, she opened the cage and allowed Benji to wander out of it at his own pace. She didn't want to push him or make him feel uncomfortable, so she left the room and tended to her other pet while Benji plucked up the courage to explore his new surroundings. After around half an hour, the little dog slowly started to step out of his cage and look around. He might have been an excitable dog that was full of energy, but that didn't stop him from being a little curious when in a new and unfamiliar place. He started sniffing around and eventually made himself at home, running around the room and happily yapping at everything. That was the Benji that Clara knew. After a while, Clara came back. However, her elderly dog Maxwell and one of her cats, Lizzie, followed her as she opened the door to the room. Benji instantly altered. With his teeth bared in a vicious snarl, he sprang for the pair of strange creatures. Even though he was just a little dog, he was undoubtedly frightening. The cat Lizzie just sprang out of the path, but Maxwell was too weak to do so and ducked behind Clara. Startled by the unexpected disorder appearing in front of her, Clara hurriedly escorted her dog and cat out of the room. Then Benji abruptly changed back into the joyful, energetic dog she had known from the shelter, as if by magic. It was really peculiar. This was the moment when Clara's mind began to make sense. It's possible that Benji's former owners were concealing his aggressive tendencies, since none of them had truly provided solid, consistent justifications for returning him. She promised herself that when she got to work the next morning, she would investigate this hypothesis. For the time being, though, Clara provided food, drink, and blankets to make Benji comfortable and made sure to double-check that the door was shut. She wished for no arguments to start overnight. Fortunately, everything went well the following morning, and Clara left to go to work at the shelter. She found all of Benji's prior owners by opening his file as soon as she got there. She was resolved to sort things out and find the truth about Benji's problem. As she began to phone the different households, it quickly became evident that Benji had visited houses with other pets in every one of them. Benji had acted violently and aggressively toward the family's other dogs, just as Clara had predicted, and they were forced to give him back to the shelter. It was also evident that the families had concealed Benji's aggressive behavior in the hopes that he would be able to find a family that would accept him, since none of them wanted to get him into trouble, or worse, be put down at everything made clear at last. The finest part of all was that Clara could really take action to address the frequent reason for Benji's return. She may attempt to educate Benji how to coexist peacefully and contentedly with other animals and to be less antagonistic toward other pets. Then perhaps he would find a family to love, adopt, and care for him indefinitely. The crucial issue was, however, would the training truly be effective? Dogs are not always able to change their behavior, even with your best efforts and dedication. With all her heart, Clara hoped that Benji wasn't one of those dogs. She began cautiously, by her pets were quite inquisitive when she let them view each other via a gate, but Benji remained irate and aggressive, biting and barking at the barrier. Things were tight for several days, and it felt like Benji was merely a dog who would always be a threat to other animals. However, he began to become accustomed to their presence over time. Clara could see a miracle gradually taking place in front of her eyes. One evening, she happened to catch her cat Lizzie sitting in Benji's room when he was only playing with a ball and causing no trouble at all. Before long, she gained the self-assurance to open the gate, let her dog Maxwell roam inside, and reunite with Benji. Unsure of how to respond, Benji sprung up as Maxwell entered. He appeared a little hesitant, but by now he was acclimated to Maxwell's scent. Positively, though, he wasn't acting aggressively. Was Clara the one who had done it? Had she turned Benji into a more canine companion? As she saw Benji approach Maxwell, she remained wary and cautious. Was this an attack from him? What she saw melted her heart. He started sniffing Clara's old dog and his tail started wagging. Soon enough, the two dogs were happily playing with a ball and chasing each other around. There was no sign of violence or aggression. It was as if the two dogs had known each other for a lifetime. And when they were done playing and resting on Benji's bed, Lizzie, the cat, even wandered up and gave Benji a few licks before curling up to sleep between the two dogs. It was heartwarming to see, and Clara was proud that all her hard work had paid off. When it came time for her to give Benji back to the shelter so that he could be put up for adoption once more, the most odd thing happened. She refused to say goodbye. During Benji's time with her, Clara developed a strong bond with the small dog, and she sensed that he felt the same way about her. It appeared like he even enjoyed making new pals. Clara decided that she would be the one to adopt Benji and provide him with a lifelong home. There was no way she could turn him away now that he was a comfortable member of her family. It simply goes to show that some love, care, patience, and most importantly, training really go a long way, even though Clara wasn't sure about Benji at first. Fortunately, Benji improved to become not only a decent dog, but an excellent dog with some training. With a dog such as Benji, how would you have handled him? Would you have sent him back to the shelter, or could you have dealt with his mischievous behavior? Please feel free to share your ideas and opinions in the space provided for comments below. I would be delighted to hear from you. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.